Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you are great. So I came across this video where this young man was talking about how he is a white man, and he was saying that he cannot be African American and he cannot be black, and he doesn't know what it feels like to be all this or melanated and all that. Why? Because he is not, and he does not also like if he tells black people that he understands fully well what they are going through, that he also will be lying, that the best he can also do is to sympathize with black people and not empathize with them. And also, the truth is that some people do not understand what black people go through, or they do understand but choose to ignore it. And he also made mention that when a black person walks into the room or walks into a place, the first thing they see is that blackness. And that is absolutely true. And once you walk in, they are already judging you because of your skin, right? And he also said that his minority can be hidden or can be managed, but being a black person can never be managed, because once you show, everything shows. He can hide whatever he is and all that, but a black person cannot hide it. And I really understand and appreciate his honesty. Still, I still do not trust anybody. But you know what?
I will never be black. I will never be African American. I will never be melanated. I am a white man. So for me to look at you and say, yes, I understand that fully, I'm lying to you.
All right, I lied. I said I was gone for the day, but something came across my FYP that really spoke to me, and I feel like I need to put this out there. I want to make a caveat. While I am really trying to stay away from people that do not look like me right now, this guy gets it. He understood it immediately. He did not try to make excuses. He did not try to pretend. He was right. He was upfront. He was real, and he was honest with himself first, and the person asking him the questions next. And I hate I'm even doing this shit, but when we tell y'all to listen and to really pay attention, we're asking you to do what he did. We're not asking you to sympathize with us, because we're not asking you to empathize with us. You can't empathize with us. You can't put yourself in our shoes. You will never in your life understand what it feels like to be discriminated against as soon as you walk through a door. You will never understand it. I'm gonna play this clip.
I will never be black. I will never be African American. I will never be melanated. I am a white man. So for me to look at you and say, yes, I understand that fully, I'm lying to you. I can sympathize, but I'll never empathize, because I don't know what it's like to walk into a business and be discriminated against the time I walk through the door. I don't know what that's like. I don't. I'm a white man. The difference in me and you is that my minority can be hidden. Yours can't. I can hide my gay. You can't hide your black.
It's accurate.
So if I'm going to be honest with you, that question, no, I don't know what it's like, and I never will.
Has any of your friends who are melanated told you any of their concerns?
Mm-hmm. I had lunch today.
What did you find out?
With my friend who was one of my first friends that I met when I moved to Atlanta. Her name is Angie. She's a mother, a business owner, and a grandmother now. And she sobbed on my shoulder for fear of, her words, I hope that my grandchild is never a victim of walking while he's black. And unfortunately, I know too well what she means.
Do you understand the fear that we have as African Americans?
I never will understand that. I will never be black.
things that are pro-community in many cases. Now that Trump is going to be back in office, you have a lot of people saying, oh, community is more important than ever. And you also have people saying, y'all don't know how to be in community, you're so individualistic. And the reason that is because most Americans have been tricked into thinking they want to be white. Just stay with me. I've talked about this in another video. It sounds crazy, but just listen. The American dream is actually whiteness. Whiteness functions as a cult, and you actually don't have to be white to be white. The definition can be changed to accept new people. German, Italian, Irish, some Jewish people. The definition of whiteness has changed over and over again to accept more and more people. They've been accepted into the Church of Whiteness, and the baptism required to cross the threshold of the white picket fence requires you to cleanse yourself of certain cultural markers in your identity. Things that aren't unique to any specific culture or continent, like living with your extended family, sharing resources, or living off of the land. The result is heightened individualism, and that's fertile ground for consumerism. Whiteness is just the process of replacing your culture with consumerism, vying sometimes unwittingly to be baptized into this cult of whiteness, even if our phenotypical features prevent us from ever truly being a member. It's the same reason you can see an immigrant come to this country with nothing, and then in a couple years turn around and say that immigrants are the problem. It's the same reason that you have the concept of the model minority. It's like the kid who's trying to hang out with their bullies, convinced that eventually they'll be part of the in crowd, not knowing that they have a phenotypical barrier that will always prevent them from fully being inside of the cult. Because at the same time that the American dream is whiteness, it is also anti-blackness, or perhaps more specifically anti-indigenous. There has to be a demographic, a group of people who is permanently on the outside, and in the context of the US, that has been African Americans. The promise has always been to every group that comes to this country, including those that are black, that no matter how broke you are, you will always have more psychological wage afforded to you than this subclass, often resulting in rude awakenings and contradictions. And even in the African American community, this concept is bought hook, line, and sinker. That whole idea of upward mobility, black respectability politics, all of these things are attempting to get into the cult of whiteness, which is ridiculous when you just look at yourself in the mirror, and yet people still buy it. And that also explains why you have such a huge swath of the Latino population voting for someone like Trump, because they really believe on a subconscious level that they can get into this cult. And in some cases they can. In some cases they can. The phenotypical barriers are low enough that they can be accepted. But the barriers keep lowering because the concept keeps weakening, especially when the crust of that American pie was created by African Americans. And as that crust is being pulled out from underneath the filling, everything is falling apart. And that's the chaos that we have and that we're living in right now. And that's the reason why everyone is struggling to figure out what does making community look like, because we're all slowly giving away all of our cultural identity in hopes of eventually joining this cult of whiteness, which most of us were never meant to be in the first place. Whiteness is made up, blackness is made up, this shit is all made up. Cultures are real. Cultures are real, and the cultures of Europe had been infighting for a millennia. They needed something to bind them. They needed a myth, a national myth, a transnational myth. This is all gonna sound crazy, but stay with me. The flip side is that as people get closer and closer to actually being accepted into the cult, they crave more and more the things that they left behind at the altar. And that is where the fetishization of black and other cultures comes into play. But that's a whole different video.
All my spiritual black people, and I'm not talking about like institutional religion, like organized religion, all my spiritual black people, especially my spiritual black women, I need you to be able to take your spiritual practice a little underground for the world we're moving into, especially as our country is probably being injected with a heavy dosage of Christian nationalism. I don't want to say too much, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of like Salem witch trials event going on for people who don't conform back into the church on like a federally mandated level. Of course, it's not going to just like blatantly get to that point where it's like, if you're not showing up to church every week and putting in your Bible log, then we're gonna, but these people rolled back abortion rights because they don't want to tell us to our face that they're trying to up the population. And then also increase the amount of slaves that they can exploit because they have no means of making amends with like the livable wage situation that's been going on. The point of this video is to say spiritual people, black spiritual women, understand that for the world we're walking into, a lot of traditional new age spiritual people, especially like the mainstream celebrities and leaders in that space right now, most of those people are going to go back to church out of fear or they're going to get on psych meds. Or they'll be forced onto psych meds, my bad. Most of them won't. Like, that's the reason why they're in the space they're in right now. But most of them will be forced onto psych meds and in like mental institutions. And if that's the case, the only thing you're going to have to lean on is your own practice, your own awareness, and your own intentions for your spiritual practice, one that is authentic to who you are outside of the validation of this world, especially outside of the validation of social media. When we aren't afraid of that solitude or facing whatever is in our closet, whatever skeletons, whatever demons, whatever is in there, we have the opportunity to build such a deep relationship with ourselves. We can become aware of our own gifts and cultivate those gifts in a way that we can utilize them fully behind our own intention or fully fueled by our own intention, showing us the ability we have to influence this reality with our own personal magic. If these people don't want a black woman president to lead them in this country, do you think they want black women to be strong and confident and have any kind of power whatsoever, especially if it's a power that they cannot control or inhibit? They have to convince you or manipulate you into or gaslight you into removing from your own ability to take or to cultivate. We have to construct a whole entire society that, and it does directly tell black women to like hate themselves, but we have to craft a whole entire society that fundamentally gets black women to either believe that they hate themselves out of their own experiences or to internalize the hatred that the world is attempting to project onto them of self-hatred and rejection. So that same world that's forcing black women to reject themselves can exploit black women for all the gifts that are not being taken advantage of by that said black woman. I'm realizing that like, I might be like Benjamin Button or some shit, bro. Like, but I'm not existing in the same like timeline as you niggas. And I'm not trying to say like I'm a psychic or I'm like ahead of time, but I receive from the future. And then I apply that to our present, and anything I need to make more sense of, I look back into the past to see what has been done, to see, okay, well, this makes sense. This pattern aligns here. This could happen. This seems like it has a real plausible chance of happening. And just feeling the environment, the time that we're in right now, and understanding what could happen for the goals that the powers that be have for themselves and for this world collectively. I want to make sure that our black spiritual women never lose sight of the innate divine power that exists within you. It's in you already. The gifts, the power, it's waiting for you to access it. And I genuinely believe the best way to do that is not by forcing yourself to or traumatizing yourself into it, but it really comes by loving yourself, knowing yourself enough, taking the time to truly develop such an intimate relationship with yourself that you allow yourself in its infinity to surprise you with the gifts that you have to present to this world. And maybe in being able to see that and recognize that value, you can see, you know what? There are other places in this world that can appreciate me, respect me, support me, compliment me in ways that allow me to not just share this power with myself, but share this power with my whole experience. That's already attempting to feed off of it, but not compensate me how I should be. Final theory. I have already made the claim a handful of times that God, the God of gods, is a black woman. But I'm starting to realize this. Not even starting to realize this, I just want to add this in here. This universe that we live in is just a womb. And it's going to sound super weird because it's like a hyper complex womb. But if you think about it, this is going to sound very woo-woo, so forgive me. Our souls come here, disconnect from whatever infinite source they're connected to, and they basically impregnate these planets and give life, or like are attached to material life to experience this limited experience. And then when we pass, we sacrifice this material body back to the earth that is material, and we go back with that infinite soul, in my belief, to other experiences in that same, like, impregnating ourselves into a reality or onto a planet, and then living that life, dying, letting that life go for what it was, and then moving on to the next experience, because this never ends for anybody. The only thing that ends is our awareness in a certain living being, because what is living has to die at some point. But what is infinite never dies. And that's what you have to recognize as a soul in a human body, instead of a human being who has a soul. There's something very, very intentional about our society not wanting the healthy, diversified cultivation of Black women. There's like, patriarchy is a much more spiritual disease and psychosis than we're willing to address. And I will continue to speak about that until I can't speak no more, because I want our people really focused on this shit. I'm so tired of the 20v1s. I'm tired of this, like, sprinkle. I'm tired of fucking red pill shit. Like, I want us to think about how complex are we? How amazing are we? How great can we be outside of what the slave master told us we are? Because if we knew who we really were, bro, we would not believe a single motherfucking thing him or his descendants or any of his people ever told us about ourselves, because we know it's only for the intention of taking advantage of us, because they know what we are, and that's why they hate us so bad. They know what we are, and they don't want us to know what we are, because then we stop believing their bullshit. You could take that as a fact.
So this is all I got from this video. And first of all, I'm going to start by saying that I personally think that Black people at this point in time know who they are. And at the same time, they know what Black people are capable of doing. They see that, they know that, they understand that. If I said that they do not know that, I am lying. I remember there was a time something was going on and Black people jumped on it, right? And all of a sudden, things that were started, I don't want to, like, if you have been following me, you definitely will understand what I am saying, right? All of a sudden, they said that the problem they are having is that, like, globally, Black people are the problem. Why? Because they know how powerful Black people are. How do I talk about Black people's power or how powerful they are? Is it when it comes to the people they are, what they can do, and how they can influence anything? They are not just only good when it comes to sports, music, and all that. I love the fact that Black people are taking over. That alone scares them. At this point in time, nobody, I love the fact that if you look around, if you check around, I read all your comments and I see what you people are talking about, right? I love the fact that every one of you already knew where you are coming from, what you can do, the power you hold as a person, even, not even as an individual. Then, looking at all this power, they now saw how powerful are united. United. They decided to come. When they're struck with Black men and Black women. But one thing I love right now is how united. With everything going on, people really do not also understand how powerful Black people are, irrespective of whatever anybody think. I love the way Black men and Black women pulled out. That alone, taught me so much. But I am going to keep that aside, right? So I don't think anybody is believing what the colonial master said and all that, because me, even as an African, do not even believe those masters, because I have been able to understand, to read through them, to also listen to people that have experienced them more than me, to understand even more. Now let's get into the first video. Like I said, I really have been dodging everybody when it comes to this, whether male or female. But when you say the truth, I definitely will acknowledge that But I really do not trust anybody anymore because, man, this past experience has really shown a lot, right? Now, I love the fact that he said that he cannot be African American, right? That his minority can be hidden. He can hide it. But being a black person cannot be hidden. Once you appear, they know that is what you are. And that is absolutely truth. That he cannot even sympathize or maybe empathize with black people because he does not like, he has never experienced what black people experience. The truth is that I love the fact that some people are being truthful because some people will never even talk about it. Because one thing I have learned to understand is that a majority of them are very scared when it comes to things that talk about race and all that. They tell you that they are scared or they are no, like, they don't want to talk about it. They shy away. Not even shying away. There is a word that I am trying to use for it, but then it's okay. They probably tell you that I mean, they are not fit to talk about it. When I hear people like that, I absolutely know that they are lying. And then the ones that come out to tell you, I see no color, you are a liar because you know the color of clothes you came outside with. And when you stop at the traffic lights, you absolutely see when it is green and when it is red or when it is amber. So I don't know. I have black friends. My dog is green or black. All these are those rhetoric we'll get to hear. But I love the fact that he was able to touch it and touch it boldly. The reality is that they don't understand or they choose not to understand how poorly black people have been treated and how so far they are also trying, like you can imagine the system that they've been trying for how many years to dismantle until this very moment they are still fighting so hard to dismantle it. You can imagine when you are working so hard to achieve something and then your effort is being suppressed. You think they are not scared. But I remember saying some time ago that some people really need to be very grateful that the only thing people that look like me are working towards is nothing but to dismantle the system that has been oppressing them from the beginning to this very moment. They are not working to probably pay back, but not until they activate, because sometimes people reaches their limit, and when people reaches their limit, anything that happens, I probably might not be the one talking about it. I know what I am saying. So you can imagine working for how many years. That is one of the reasons why when I remember screaming here that we will get to find out the people that voted against their own interest after the election, right? That those your favorite influencers, that you get to hear the stories in the end. Why? Because I saw some signs. I saw some signs when Kamala Harris came out as okay, I am running for president. And women became very scared. They are not even being scared for themselves. They are also being scared for their own husbands. That is to tell you how some people are power mongers, right? Some people want to hold on to that power. And when people hold on to power, they do not want to release it because they are scared of releasing it. If I release this power, what it's going to be of us, what is going to happen to us. Now that boils down to them trying as much as they can to protect, right, their ways. Because sometimes they feel like we are declining. What if they get into power? How are we supposed to survive? Reality is that a time is coming when some people will know that the only thing they have as people are just this. And when I say this, you are supposed to understand. That is the only thing they have. There is nothing they can give. So tightening the space and all that, it's a must because they do not want you to fit in. I remember also talking about women saying that working like all they want is a never, because like if only people, those people are very powerful that they can stop some certain things. That's why at some point I knew actually that there is nothing like ally, because if there are something that needed to be dismantled, those people can actually stand up and do make, I mean, like move things. But when you look at it, you find out that if they do it, who will they look down on? Who will they? Who will they feel like we are better off? I mean, I absolutely love the point they raised, especially like, both of them did a great job. All of them did a great job with the points they raised. And I really hope that, yeah, I don't know how to say this, but yeah, we look forward to better things. And I definitely will dive into Black Project 2025 for Black people, because I see a lot of people asking me, when are you going to talk about it? Well, most times when I am talking something, I have to come up with facts. I mean, like things to back it up. So see you all in my next video. Bye for now.